Hello, Star Lovelies. It's a great time to be a soul. Today we're talking about
Hey there, Collaborative Explorer. We are talking about the sneaky ways of lack, and these are tips just for you. So, as you're juggling projects and you're looking at the events that you're involved with or the groups that you belong to, it can become too much sometimes. It can become fraught with to-do lists and follow-ups and things like that. When we get out of alignment with ourselves and we're kind of running around and making sure that we are taking care of all the needs and requirements of belonging to such groups, we tend to overlook our own abundance. We often misplace our power and our energy, and so we are eroded and we just keep continuing to further meet the needs of others and overlook our own needs. And we don't want that to happen. And so this conversation is about the sneaky ways of lack, but some of them are fairly obvious. Just the erosion of energy is one way of lack. But when I look at the sneaky ways for you, and I can marry those with the 10 ways of lack that we did in general, the one that sticks out the most for you, Collaborative Explorer, is titled Discounts and Bonuses. But again, it's not in that overt way. The way I've written it for the general public is that a lot of people will offer discounts. And so they'll say, oh, the price is typically $1,000, but I'm going to discount that for 20% to you. So you can save 20% on this. And then therefore it only costs you $800. From a sales perspective and from an offer perspective, that makes a lot of sense. From an energetic one, though, it does not. And so energetically, what we're doing is we are completely making ourselves smaller. We're eroding our value. We're saying to others that we really don't believe that it's worth $1,000. We really think it's worth 800, and we're going to offer it to you for that just so that it sounds better, right? And it's a typical sales tactic. No harm, no foul if you've done this and you do this. However, when you are in the command of your value, when you know what you're worth, when you understand and appreciate that this doesn't generate the clientele that you want to be dealing with on a long-term basis, you can shift that mindset and shift that offer to say, you know what? We're not going to be thinking discounts and bargains. We're going to be thinking bonuses and adding value. We're going to be adding the thing that says we are worth it and so are you. And that's the kind of energy that draws abundance towards you. So for you, it doesn't really work that way. I don't see you out there selling a lot of different things that you're just slashing prices and you're doing promos and you're doing the typical nature of this. I do, however, work with collaborative explorers just like you that often leave themselves out of the equation. They don't very well often say, you know what, I am worth it. So they do things like throwing an offer out there that honestly they don't really care about that much. And they're looking to just, generate some activity or generate business. This is not a great equation for you. It's not part of your success formula, because it just doesn't really work. You work better when people can get to know you. You work better when people are paying attention and aware. So stay in your own rhythm, the own cadence, your own process. It would be infinitely better for you to have evergreen offerings, those offerings that you can just add people to as you're coming in connection with them versus having launches. So I've expanded that tip about lack to fit you more. You don't want to be in the promotion window at all. You just really don't. It just doesn't work that well for you. If it does, it could be because you're partnering with somebody else or there's been some sticky energy that's been more positive around, but your natural energy, this just doesn't work. So let's not do it. Let's just take that completely out. And if you're looking to entice somebody to come in, add a beautiful, luscious bonus that is something that you really adore, that honestly, one of those prior offerings that somebody didn't buy before. And you can say, oh, guess what? Because we made a connection, because this is great timing for you, I'm going to add this for you. And that's going to make this beautiful benefit of being, twice the value of what it was before. So in that value equation, I'm going to be going through 3 more sneaky ways of lack that are typical for every signature. We're going to be looking at it through your lens. So the first one is judgment. This is a kryptonite for everybody. And sometimes we judge ourselves. Sometimes we judge other people. Sometimes we judge how we're comparing with other people. And so we want to get out of that judgment of I'm lacking or you're lacking or the situation's lacking and really get into that beautiful inspiration and that motivating success celebration for ourselves and for others. You don't really judge. You would rather walk away. So the collaborative explorer is watching something and feeling a little bit less than or feeling a little bit more than, and typically just like say, you know what? That's not my thing. I'm just going to walk away. Sometimes that's beautiful. That is the best, most gorgeous, most luscious, most abundant thing that you can do. As long as it's something that isn't going to materially affect you, should you walk away from it. Beautiful. But sometimes it does materially affect you. Sometimes you walk into a room and people are posturing a bit and they're kind of doing some power punches and they're just actively, in that comparative mode. And you're like, I do not want to play with this. But what if it's the best room that you're in? What if this is the best person that you could be standing in front of? And what if they have opportunities? And if you just could shift the conversation and just really be that bountiful instructor, if you will, wow, that's an opportunity that you don't want to miss out on. So I'm just going to remind you that sometimes you're missing out on opportunities because you don't want to put your hat into the fray. But you're so gracious. You have that beautiful energy of being able to see the agenda of other people's that no one may even notice, and you can redirect the conversation so it's win-win for everybody. Another sneaky way of lack is how we invest in ourselves. And so, other signatures sometimes chase a lot of freebies, or if they're in a workshop or program, they'll try to eke out all of the goodness for it. That's not really what you do. But what you do is you often will not actually invest in yourself. So we definitely don't want that to be happening for you. We want you to be able to say, you know what? I matter. I matter so much that my time is so incredibly valuable that I'm going to ensure that if I am in a group program, I am getting the benefits that satisfy me, that serve me, and I'm leaving the others behind. And oh, by the way, I'm not responsible for anybody else. So if say a program has 4 different components and you really adore number 1 and number 3, and you don't really care about number 2 and number 4, it's just not your vibe. You just don't really care about it. Give yourself permission to leave those behind and really concentrate on number 1 and number 3. However, it is not your responsibility to tell anybody else about number 2 and what goodness it holds for them, or number 4 and what goodness holds for them, unless you're in a relationship with them. It's the person who owns that program, who owns that group, who's responsible for ensuring that people are getting the most out of it. It's not yours, because we don't want anything to distract you from your own success pathway. We want to make sure that you are aligned with what satisfies and what is success for you. So asking what belongs to you and really stepping into that support for you first and foremost is wonderful. And then because you're not taking action for other people, you're going to take action for yourself in these things. So you're going to do everything that number 1 and number 3 wants. So that's beautiful. And the last way that we have these sneaky ways of lacks and these hacks that go with it is about story. So for some people, they get attached to story. They sometimes can be so deeply entrenched with it that they wear it and it becomes too heavy, like the wise strategist, or they own it and they want it to like help them shine, but they miss opportunity like the ruling warrior. But for you, collaborative explorer, often your story goes untold. You might know your story, you might really own your story, but you don't really give yourself the space to tell it. And so you want to be able to have other people support you the way you support them. You want to be able to have people bear witness to you just the way you bear witness to them. This is a reciprocity equation. So what you're telling the universe when you don't take up that space, when you don't tell your story, when you don't share yourself with others, you're telling the universe that you only want to give, that you don't need to receive, that it doesn't matter if something's coming back to you because you're gaining your satisfaction by pouring into others and giving. And we know that just keeps limiting your abundance creation. So we absolutely do not want that to happen. When you're thinking about these sneaky ways of lack, and you're looking at the hacks, you owning yourself, you owning your value, you showing up for yourself, and be just a teeny bit selfish, that would be really, really good for you, Collaborative Explorer, because for you, that actually helps with your abundance. So I adore that you're listening. I adore that you're part of my world, and I am so thankful for you for being here. I'm telling the other signatures to go ahead and share with friends and to rate and subscribe and all the things, but I'm imagining that you're already doing that. And if you're not, then go ahead, because you matter so much that it is your birthright for people to be understanding and appreciating you and all the value that you give. Thank you so much for being the soul who you are.
Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more ways to use the stars strategically to align with your soul purpose, reclaim your power, and increase your prosperity. Please rate and review your favorite episodes, and remember to check out my website at kimwoods.com for my latest forecasts, articles, and offerings. To find out your intuitive success signature, take my 12-question Do You Know, Like, and Trust Yourself quiz and find out how you're living your stars at yourstarmaptosuccess.com. I've so enjoyed our time together, as it's filled with the power of the stars plus strategy to clear the pathway to your success. Until next time, happy soul tidings.